Things just got worse and worse and worse as the night went on. Again, valiant effort down the stretch for the Bucs. Just too little, too late. Let's go down and let's see what Coach Fletch and the rest of the crew has to say. And as always, go Bulls. So let's head into the locker room right now and see what the guys have to say about that one. Wow. Where do the Buccaneers go from here? What an incredible atmosphere. What a good win for the Tampa Bay Lightning. They snapped a 7-game winning streak. How we feeling, Bucs Nation? It's time to party, baby.
We'll go an hour today. Bucs, Lions, Monday Night Football. A lot to get into today. It's a pretty somber day here in the Tampa Bay area. I got to be honest, I don't feel well. Physically, I'm fine. Just feel like this is one of those dark days. My guy Connor Geeky got sent down to the AHL. The Buccaneers have a performance like they did last night. No bueno. No bueno at all. Questions, comments, concerns, leave them there at the bottom of the screen. If you want to join in on the conversation, that's how you do it right there. The link is right there in the chat. StreamYard.com/3K5E6YI2KM right there. Just click on that stream or that link in the chat, whether you're on the phone, whether you're on the laptop. Not a good night last night at all. Shout out to everybody that joined us over at A Loft there in Midtown at Sally Mar upstairs with Ian Beckles and the crew. But my God, as bad of a performance as you're going to see from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on Monday Night Football. And while, yes, the referees were terrible, that's not the reason why the Buccaneers lost that game. They were awful. I mean, that they were shit. They were just shit. That's not anywhere close to the top reason why they lost that game last night. And regardless of the loss, I think today, the reason why I'm as somber as I am today, and the reason why I have this get up on today, is because watching Mike Evans get injured like that, that's a tough look. It's a tough look for Mike Evans and the Buccaneers, and Team Tampa Bay. And you can finally put the kibosh on his consecutive seasons with 1,000 yards. Broken clavicle, out at the very least 6 to 8 weeks. But it's not just that he got hurt, it's how he got hurt. And if you're watching this game last night and you're seeing number 13 just laying on the middle of the field there in Detroit, everybody just stopped and you're just looking at it like, damn. You can't take too many of those hits. And you saw Baker Mayfield's just kind of standing there. And he's like looking down the field. And he's just waiting and waiting and waiting, just like the rest of us were, to see if Mike would get up. That 5 or 6 play sequence last night, I think, was probably one of the worst that we've seen in Buccaneer history. Penalty, 78-yard touchdown. Levante gets hurt, goes down. And then a couple of plays later, Mike goes down, and he's out. And he just, as they're walking him off the field, he looked like he wasn't even on this planet. Your heart goes out to Mike Evans, first and foremost, with his health. But that just little 5-play sequence right there was just so bad. And trust me, I know about the Yuccaneers, and I was here for the Jameis stuff, but just that to see the two greatest players of this generation, two future Ring of Honor guys, go down like that. I mean, just like that's the last thing you want to see. And to see Mike walk off the field and Levante gets on the field to walk off with them, it just sucks, man. It sucks. Rough game for the Buccaneers last night. You know it's bad when Tristan Wirfs, for certain plays, is going to play right tackle because there was just nothing that they could do with Aiden Hutchinson. I've never seen a guy have that much of an impact and not have any sacks. Incredible performance. And the guy that the Buccaneers brought in to make that similar type of impact was Hassan Reddick. And he got hurt last night. Knee, ankle, getting an MRI today. Doesn't look good for him either. No bueno. Baker Mayfield was probably at his worst that we've seen since he joined the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I mean, his footwork was all over the place. He was trying to force feed balls in there. He was just missing guys by a ton. The last throw he had last night on fourth, and he was trying to hit a bucs in the end zone. And it's just like, where are you going with the football there, buddy? He did not look good at all. The defensive line that needed to stand up tall, giving up a 78-yard rush to Jahmyr Gibbs, giving up some huge plays. And how about that fourth down that they ran the jet sweep with Amon-Ra St. Brown, and then he pitched it back to Gibbs. Nelson was there for the tackle. There was 3 or 4 other guys that could have made the tackle. So many times, the guys that made the first contact with the ball carrier last night did not make the tackle. Losses are going to happen. And again, if it was just like not being able to make the tackle at the point of contact, that's one thing, right? Baker, that's one thing. But the whole Evans and Reddick injuries, that is why I am so bleh today. Somber today. No good. No good. I look at this team. I still feel like they're one of the best teams in the league, no doubt. But just the fact that Mike Evans went down like he went down last night, I feel worse just because of him, like his health and the kind of guy he is and the look of concern on the face of all the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And that's why it's different for people that care and don't care and cover this team and get to know Mike over the years he's been here. And you just don't want to see people go down like that. And that's what happened. A rough loss for the Buccaneers last night against the Detroit Lions. Of course, I want to hear from you. Questions, comments, concerns, leave them there at the bottom of the screen. We're on. It's Power Hour today, 12-1. That's what we're doing. Buck stunk last night. Oh, well, from our guy. Let's see. Just sick for Evans, our girl Janet Best. Prayers up and healing vibes. The team will recover. Go Bucks. They certainly will. Today definitely hurts. Shout out to our sponsors as well. Honest Hammer, Custom Builders, EverHealth. We love you guys. We'll find out about the ramifications of Mike Evans' injury Thursday at 12:30 with the EverHealth Injury Report with Dr. Rodriguez. This is why we have him on. Rolly. Bad night. Baker was off. Officiating was off. Mike Evans, so sad. Actual defense held us in the game for the most part. Got that right. Greg the Cruz, do not blame the rest of this loss. Flushing, get ready for the Saints. Yep, got that right. David Terry, Jay, we got our ass beat on the O-line. Baker was never comfortable the whole game. David Terry, you had a rough couple of days, buddy. Florida State, Liverpool, Buccaneers, DT, you might have to go on vacation. What's up to Dolan? Baker didn't look the same. He must have some lingering injuries. Yeah, I mean, just natural that he was going to have some kind of regression. I mean, he's played at such an MVP level so far this season. And there were times even when he did have time in the pocket that he was rushing and getting rid of the ball way too quickly, and just happy feet Baker. Even though the refereeing was atrocious, it is in most of these games, the Buccaneers got their ass kicked because they didn't play good enough to win. You're not wrong, Dolan. You're not wrong at all. Bart Hill in the house. Eddie, Familia was rough to watch, guys. Sorry you all had to witness that. Hope all is well with Mike Evans. Got that right. Carlos says the same thing. Bart Hill, I'm just glad I got tatered on the back porch before the end of the game. That was bad all the way around. Look at our guy Chan with the $5 super chat. Appreciate you, buddy. I'm all Bucs all the time, and the 2 losses I predicted happened. Philly and Detroit, besides the injuries, will be back by, can be a cure-all. And this is, again, my good buddy Josh, Ian's good pal. We were there last night, and this is why I've been telling you guys the last week or two, you don't just turn the injuries off. You don't just go, oh, well, when everybody gets healthy. There's no guarantee that's going to happen. Injuries are something that you have to deal with the entire season. Go ask the Detroit Lions from last year. Did the injuries ever turn off? No. When they did get a guy back, somebody else got banged up. It's not all the end-all, be-all, where there's only a quota of how many times you get injured or how many man games you lose. It's not the way it goes. You have to navigate through the waters of injuries. That's just part of life in the National Football League. Another thing we said on the show yesterday, everybody kept saying, oh, the secondary this, the secondary that. I mean, secondary looked pretty good for Detroit yesterday. Was it 9 points? The battle's won in the trenches. Don't get that twisted. Grizzard took a step back. Maurice Tucker. Maurice, my man. Maurice was able to show up last night to Ian's shindig there. Thank you, Maurice, for showing up, man. That meant a whole hell of a lot to me, and I know it did to Ian, too. Thank you so much. Grizzard took a step back. You know what, Maurice? It's funny you said. I'm glad that you said that, because I look at the situation with Grizzard, and I know Todd Bowles said something today. When you're investing so much into chipping a guy like Aiden Hutchinson, it really limits what you can do on offense. And some of those plays, and yeah, I'm not putting that on Baker either. Like, some of these plays, man, like, what are you going to do? You have your right tackle, Charlie Heck, and a tight end in Payne Durham, and a running back in Rashad White, all focused on one guy. Just do the math, right? You got 3 guys focused on one. It's 10-8 the other way. And then, oh, yeah, take Baker out of it, right? It's 10-on-7 pretty much the rest of the crew out there. It's rough. So I think that's just something that Grizzard's going to have to learn. That's what's going to happen when you face a backup right tackle. A couple of years ago, the Buccaneers did not do that type of thing, and Aiden Hutchinson ran wild with the sacks. No sacks for him, but he still played a huge, huge part of the game. I think Baker's banged up. He needs a week off. Bring in Teddy for the Saints game. I don't know if I'd go that far. He's not coming out of the game. Team misses Bucky. You're not wrong about that. There was a couple of runs that I loved. I love what I saw from Rashad. He's working his ass off, but breaking that last tackle and being able to scamper for, instead of an 8-yard run, a 25 to 30-yard run, that's what you miss with Bucky out. Chan, to Greg, the offense misses everyone who's out. Evans has to do too much. Tez, a rookie, is our receiving MVP. Emeka Egbuka is definitely a receiving MVP. He still didn't look right. I don't know if that was the smartest move to bring him back yesterday. There was a couple of plays yesterday, and that's why you have to watch the whole game, and you have to kind of watch what's going on. Tez, touchdown. Tez with another, had a couple other grabs. But, man, this dude he needs to get into the playbook again, because you saw a couple times him coming off the field and the wide receiving coach, Brian McClendon, just ripping him a new one. He's got to get in the playbook. You guys remember that play early on in the game where him and Mike were like in the same spot? That wasn't Mike. Tez breaking off to the right instead of going down the field. Like, he's got to get better. He's got to get back in the playbook. He has to improve. No doubt about it. He's going to make catches. That's one thing, but it's so much more than that. Dolan, bottom line, we absolutely have to have quality depth on both lines. Yeah, but I mean, it's a building process, right? We didn't have depth in the secondary last year. We're able to get it this year, but I mean, what did that do for you? Jamel Dean was in there. Sometimes he comes away with another interception. That's big, but I mean, as good as we think Jamel's been doing, like, He's getting sat in this game for a rookie in Benjamin Morrison. Like, what does that tell you about what they think of a guy like Jamel Dean? Could he still be nursing an injury? Yeah, maybe. But he's sitting there with his helmet on. He's not getting checked medically. You think your best players are going to play. They obviously feel pretty happy and have high hopes and aspirations for a guy like Benjamin Morrison. But, yeah, to me, the injury today, that's what's really bugging me about this whole thing. Let's go to our guy, Eddie. Eddie, what's up, man? What do you got for us?
What's going on, Jay family? Listen, man, it was a rough, very rough watch, man. Um, I hope the best for the Reddick and Mike Evans, honestly, full recovery. Um, but at the end of the day, you guys are Bucks fans for a reason. They're 5-2. Like, come on, man, they're Bucks. They gonna figure this out.
You got that.
Let's be real. Let's be real. It was a rough game. To me personally, it felt like a playoff game. There's a lot of chaos, a lot of, I agree with the refereeing, but at the end of the day, you got to win the game yourself.
No doubt.
So I want to lighten your day, Jay, because I see you're all black. So you Bucks fans, just know you ain't a fan like me. All right? Peace and love, everybody.
Appreciate you, Eddie. Thank you so much. Yeah, Eddie's been going through it as a Dolphins fan. You're totally right. You're totally right, Eddie, and I appreciate that, bud. The thing for me is that I was in this – I feel like I was totally wrong in this aspect. Well, yes. I said no matter what happens, if the Bucks lose, they're still 5-2. They're in a good spot. That's true. But I also said something to the effect of they got to come out of the game without any injuries. And that's the thing that's really bothering me today. It's not so much of the fact of the Buccaneers losing this game to the Detroit Lions, because it's a good battle. Shout out to my Uncle Stitch listening down there in the Port Charlotte area. Aunt Renee and Uncle Stitch, we love you guys. You want to talk about people that are going through it? My Uncle Stitch is a Giants fan. Man, to watch those two games, the Giants on Sunday and then the Bucks last night, yeah, I'm looking forward to basketball. He said, and why can't hockey get back? And the World Series, now the matchup is set between the Dodgers and the Toronto Blue Jays. But shout out to Aunt Renee and Uncle Stitch. I love you guys. I said that no matter what was going to happen, I'd be okay with the loss because they'll still be 5-2 and in control of the division. But man, that Mike Evans injury, it was just such a double punch to the gut. Personally, professionally, knowing that the record, and I was going back and forth with my guy Nick Wise on Twitter earlier today about the importance of the record. And let's not get it twisted. His health is paramount. Him not being out there to help the team and what their record is and trying to win the Super Bowl is definitely, most important, right? That's always going to come over the individual accomplishment and statistics. But that record meant something. That record meant something to Mike. It meant something to the team. It meant something to the organization. It meant something to the fan base. I mean, I was there last year, final game of the season against the Saints, and I heard the roar at Raymond James Stadium when Mike Evans caught that final ball. And you see the video. They weren't shy in doing whatever, I don't want to say whatever it took. They weren't shy in trying to do what it took within the confines of the game to get that record. I mean, you saw him running off the field. You saw everybody celebrating. You saw Jalen McMillan freaking out. Liam Cohen and Todd Bowles, everybody was on the same page. Like, when you can accomplish an individual record like that within the confines of the game and be so transparent and upfront that it was a big deal, I think it's only natural to feel some type of way about that today. Because it meant a lot to him and the team and all of us. It doesn't mean it's more important than him not being available to the team or more important than winning a Super Bowl. But it just means that it's coming to an end. This is something that was helping Mike Evans in his, when you're making an argument about Mike Evans and him being a Hall of Famer, like that's one of those things that help. When you're talking about him and Jerry Rice, like that's a big deal. That's a big deal, especially for a guy like Mike, where he's got a very unique resume. He was never to the status of a Julio Jones or Justin Jefferson. He's more of a model of consistency rather than a guy that was like a five-team All-Pro. So something like this, when you're doing something that's never happened in the National Football League, and everybody and their mother is talking about it, when an injury like last night puts the kibosh on that and puts a black magic marker through that type of thing, I think it's just natural for that to be part of the conversation. And I think it's okay to be empathetic. I don't ever think that's a bad thing. We should be finding more and more ways to celebrate people in sports instead of trying to find ways to bring people apart. And that's the reason why we watch sports anyway, right? To have a good time. It's an escape from reality. I haven't been to a Raymond James Stadium yet for one Buccaneers game in the last 11 years, and people were fighting in the stands about their religion or their politics. Nobody gave a shit. All they cared about was Baker Mayfield throwing the football to Mike Evans and Levante David coming away with a strip sack. Like, that's all they really care about. Nick Bowen says Bucs clearly need to bring in a bigger wide receiver now. Tyler Boyd at 6'2" is still a free agent. Can't hurt. Also think we need to trade for an OLB. Reddick hasn't been a difference maker anyway. Yeah, Jason Light is not that guy that's a big wheeling and dealing type of guy. So it is easy for us to sit on the outside and say, well, you should do this and you should bring in this. And I know Tyler Lockett was another guy that just got let go by the Tennessee Titans. That team sucks too. All I'd say to you is Tyler Boyd's 6'2", which is great, but there's a reason why he's a free agent. Did I see Robbie Anderson in the game the other day? Right? If you're that good enough, you'd be on a roster. If they bring him in, they bring him in. But you're free at this point of the season with all the injuries that we've seen. If you're still a free agent, there's a reason why you're a free agent. I personally feel for ME13 and want him to be healthy, of course. But what's good with Godwin? Is he like even close to coming back? So I think it was really sad. That's the end of that era. Clearly, we're seeing a changing regard to wide receiver. Thank goodness that Light drafted double E. There's only one double E, and that's Eric Erlinson. All right, let's not get that twisted. And no, I'm not beefing with Nick. Going back and forth on Twitter, we ain't beefing. Not at all. We're allowed to have a difference of opinion. That's fine. If you remember the discussion that we had with Dr. Rodriguez last Thursday for the EverHealth injury report, he told us that there's 2 injuries that Chris Godwin would be dealing with if it was a fibula injury. Number 1, it was a bone bruise. Doesn't seem like it's a bone bruise because he's still out. Missed 2 games, and that's more of a pain tolerance thing. He also said the possibility was, with the Chris Godwin injury, was that there was a stress injury either north or south or top or bottom of the hardware that was used to fix his fibula. So if you think about it like a plate and screws and all that stuff in there, and when you're doing that, you're causing stress on top of the hardware and on the bottom of the hardware. So when you say a stress injury, it's another stress fracture, meaning that the bone is fractured again to a much lesser degree than obviously when he had the injury, but still that has to heal. And there's no guarantee that once you come back from that you're not going to do it again. So is this something that could linger all season? Yes. Could he hurt himself again? Yes. There's no guarantee that Jalen McMillan's going to come back. Still in a neck brace last week. Mike Evans is going to be done for at the very least 6 to 8 weeks with a clavicle. Even if Chris Godwin is good to play this week, there's still a chance, because he's already done it. There's still a chance for him to have another stress fracture at the top of that hardware or the bottom of that hardware. No bueno. No bueno at all. Remember when everybody said, Bucky Irving, he's only going to miss 1 week? He's been out for a couple games now. Another reason why, before the season, when people were talking about trade Rachaad White, think about that. Trade Rachaad White. Where would this team be now? Josh Williams are hurt. You would have had Sean Tucker and Owen Wright as your starting running backs last night in the game against Detroit. Emeka Egbuka coming back that quickly from a hamstring injury. To me, that just showed me that he had a little bit of maybe discomfort in his hamstring. And when he came out of the game, and for him to be able to be back in just 1 week, it helps that he's young. You have to wonder if they're using something like stem cells to be able to help him get better that much easier, that much quicker. Because that was a little surprising. But how much did you really see of him last night? How much of an impact did Emeka Egbuka really have on that game? Bucs scored 9 points last night. 9. A lot of people thought it was going to be a shootout. Mike Evans is back. All this, all that. Emeka Egbuka was targeted 12 times last night. 12. He caught 4 balls. Cade Otton targeted 9 times, 7 catches. I mean, Sterling Shepard, to his credit, targeted 7 times, 7 balls, but he only had 25 yards. That wasn't great. But I gave a lot of credit to Cade Otton. I really do, man. He's been asked to do so many different things for this team. He has been busting his ass to try to do whatever it takes to help this team win. Stretching out, trying to get that first down. I mean, a little bit of everything. Just, man, they're going to need him even more. They're going to need him anymore. Even more now. Guys, make sure, even though we're feeling a little down today, Honest Hammer, Custom Builders LLC, 813-244-0956, our guys that we really trust, even in our darkest days, to be able to help us out when we have any needs, residential or commercial. Something that you heard it right here on the Recher podcast. I was chatting with Hammer yesterday. You do get a discount if you mention that you heard it right here. 813-244-0956, kitchen, bathroom renovations, new build at the house. You got to be able to trust these guys that are working on your home. Honest Hammer Custom Builders, LLC, they are the ones to trust. Again, 813-244-0956. Tell them that you heard it right here on the Recher podcast, thehonesthammer.com, thehonesthammer@gmail.com. And then, of course, EverHealth, our injury report every Thursday at 12:30. It's probably, I keep saying this is the best segment of the week. Best segment of the week. It's going to be even better this week because we're going to be talking about all the different injuries for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Look at Chan. Cade chipping on Hutchinson, catching balls, blocking. He's dope, just like Honest Hammer and EverHealth. I like that, buddy. I like that a lot. Really, really cool. But yeah, EverHealth, man. EverHealth.org for all the different things that they do. EverHealth Institute, trying to help people get to that next level, working in the medical professional field. Very similar to the broadcasting school that I went to. EverHealth Institute, unbelievable. There's 17 different locations in the Pinellas County area. Tell them that you heard it right here on the Recher podcast. All your health needs. They have a sliding scale for the uninsured. They take all kinds of medical insurance. Go check them out. Tell them that you heard it right here. I sent more and more people there every day. EverHealth, you're not happy with your doctor, you're not happy with the care that you and your family get, give it a shot. It's a short ride. There's 17 locations in Pinellas. I don't know about you guys, but if you live on the Hillsborough County side like I do, I'll drive a little farther to make sure that I'm getting the care. I'm getting people that they care about me, getting the proper care, but getting people that are going to care for me, that actually care for me. So EverHealth, again, everhealth.org. See all the different things that they got going on over there. I love my friends over at Honest Hammer and EverHealth. Couldn't do this without them. And, of course, the Super Chats, Chin and Maurice Tucker. Thank you guys very, very much. The Super Chats keep getting better every single month. Can't appreciate you guys enough. In the Trenches isn't just a clever podcast name. It's where games are won. I was encouraged at time with the D-line. Yeah, at times. And then other times, I mean, you got to be able to stop the run. Buccaneers gave up 164 yards rushing yesterday. Can't win like that. Can't win like that at all. Another 82 yards through the air, which Amir gives, where you know that's kind of an extension of the running game. They do such a good job, the Lions do, of using that short passing game as an extension of the run, getting so many different people involved. I mean, 3 catches for Brock Wright, their backup tight end, yesterday. He had more yards than Sam Laporta did. And the Buccaneers made some timely plays, especially early. I mean, you're there at halftime going, it's only 14-3. They were right in there. There's so many things that went the opposite for the Buccaneers that really could have changed the tide of this game, but they're the ones that have to. That's the one thing the Bucs have been doing. You make and you create your own luck. You put yourself in a position to be able to. All right, you got to do this. You got to. I mean, when you go out there and you're missing as many passes as Baker did, I mean, 22 incompletions. Holy shoot! I mean that's a lot, man. Your QBR was 23. Your passer rating was 66. You can't win like that. Here's another thing. 0 rushes for Baker yesterday. None. We didn't see Baker escape the pocket. And you think at times, right, get outside the pocket, use your legs. It's something that you've been doing well all year long. Not good enough. Not good enough. Eddie Harada, $2 super chat. Thank you, buddy, for a full recovery to Mike and to Hassan Reddick. You got that right, buddy. Why don't the Bucs give Sean Tucker some more reps to help White out? I mean, listen. Rashad only ran the ball 10 times. So I think that's another aspect of it, right? They only ran the ball 12 times total. Sean had 1 carry. Rashad had 10. And the Buccaneers were throwing the football. I think this another thing with Josh Grizzard is I think he got a little – I think Baker's happy feet in the pocket were kind of symbolic of – what Josh Grizzard was like last night too. We always talk about this with Ian. It's not always about the rushing yards. It's about the rushing attempts. It was 24-19. It's only a 15-point difference in the game, right? And it wasn't like, even though the Buccaneers, I thought, got outplayed, like they didn't get blown out, even though they lost by 15. And I don't look at this as like a blowout. I thought they just got a little, like, they got some happy feet. And the disparity between the passes and the runs just can't happen. Look at Detroit. 29 passes from Jared Goff, 32 carries. Even if you take his 2 out, which are not design runs, right? 17 carries for Gibbs, 13 for Montgomery, gives you 30. Compared to the 29 passes for Jared Goff, that's balance. That is balance. Then you look at the Buccaneers. Baker Mayfield, 50 carries. 50. No matter what anybody wants to say about Baker Mayfield, okay, and how much better he's gotten and how much he's grown on and off the field, that has not changed, nor will it change. It's been great to see how much he's grown. But at the end of the day, Baker is at his best when the attempts are down and the rush attempts for the team are up. That's just a fact. Look at it last year with Liam Cohen. Look at it this year with Josh Grizzard. A balanced offense is when Baker thrives. Doesn't mean that he can't go out there and drop some dimes and be one of the best players on the field and go toe-to-toe with – I'm not saying he can't do that. But when you play against a team like this that has a stellar defensive line, you got to do some different things to be able to stem the tide, change the momentum, keep drives going, stay on the field after third down, And if you take away the play by Teddy Bridgewater, it's 11 carries, 10 for Rashad, 1 for Tucker, and 50 passing attempts for the Buccaneers. Can't win like that. Can't win like that. And for the first, 5 weeks, 6 weeks, the Buccaneers have been balling on third down. This week, 4 for 16. To their credit, defensively, they did a good job, 3 for 13 against the Lions. There were moments where you're like, you look at this Buccaneers team, like, they're not going down. And that's, if you take away a saving grace from this game and a silver lining, it's that these dudes were battling to the end. And that's what's going to make you feel better when I wake up tomorrow and we look at this game and this team. As you start looking, all right, when we look ahead. Tomorrow's going to be a better day, no doubt. But as we look back at what happened last night, and we look at losing Mike Evans, and we look at losing Hassan Reddick, there's just a pall that is over this game for me. 4 for 16 on third down. No good at all. Turnovers even. All right, time of possession. Buccaneers 3 minutes less. Just rushing the football, man. Rushing the football. And 4 sacks either way. I mean, it just comes down to the little things. And sometimes your best players have to be your best players. And that's what we saw yesterday. We didn't see really anybody stand out on the offensive side from the Bucs. All right, we did see the touchdown from Tej Johnson, but I mentioned that, he made some mistakes. And you can tell. It's not just from us. You don't even need to know, but just watch when the rookie runs to the sideline and Coach McClendon and Baker's giving him that look like that you're not supposed to be there. It's going to happen. He's a rookie. And if you remember, Todd Bowles said that before the season even started. How much Tez is going to learn, like how much he's going to play, depends on how deep he is into his playbook. It's a work in progress. But when you look at a game like last night, your best players need to be your best players. Jahmyr Gibbs, freaking awesome. Amazing. Amon-Ra, 6 catches for 86 and the touchdown. Aiden Hutchinson, an absolute nightmare for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers offensive line. So much so that we saw Tristan Wirfs at right tackle for the first time in 2 years. Or 3 years. 5-2. Buccaneers lose their first game on the road. They were 3-0 on the road going into this one. 24-9 loss to the Detroit Lions. I want to hear from you. Questions, comments, concerns, leave them there at the bottom of the screen. Also, if you want to call in, there is there it is right there. StreamYard.com/3K5E6YI2KM. Mecca was open deep easily 3 times. You're right, Tyler. You are so right. There was one pass early on in the game where Baker underthrew him by like 8 yards. Those are the plays that you got to hit. You got to connect on them. And I did not love the footwork from Baker Mayfield. And we've said this for the last couple of weeks too. If he's still dealing with any type of bicep injury, the thing that it's going to affect is your arm strength. And you saw it when he was rolling to the right in that game against Philly when he threw the interception and it didn't have the same sting on it. Now, can you muscle through it at times? Step into one and let it rip like we saw a couple times last night? Yeah, of course. We saw him hobbling around a little bit. But some of those throws, there was also another throw to the middle of the field towards the end of the game where he just kind of had this like throwing without his feet set, and the defender ran back and made a really great play to knock it away from, I think it was Ibuka. Those are the kind of things that he has to clean up. We get into this habit in sports when it comes to teams and when it comes to coaches and when it comes to players where if you call them out for some of the things that they don't do right or for some of the mistakes they make, people say you're hating, and people say, well, don't remember this, remember that. Just because you point out something that Baker did wrong in week 7 Doesn't take away what he did through the first 6 weeks. But if you don't call out what he did wrong, then you're not being real. I don't think, and if Baker's injured, they need to figure that out because him playing through an injury is what caused it. Yeah, but that's different, Tyler. That's different. He wasn't the same Baker then as he is now. That was a left shoulder thing. That was a real problem. This is a little bit of a bicep issue, and he's been dealing with it for the last couple of weeks, and he's played pretty well. This was the first one. I'm just talking about on certain plays, it's going to bother you. Certain plays, it's going to affect you. He had no confidence in his offensive line last night and was feeling pressure even when not there. That's what happens when you're under pressure so much. Barton was horrible last night. Quick pressures are a killer. Yeah, I mean, that was very emblematic of what we saw with C.J. Stroud in the game with the Houston Texans. There was a couple of times where his feet were moving and he was dancing in that pocket and there was nobody around him. But because that offensive line has been so poor, sometimes you think, oh my gosh, it's there when it's not. Oh my gosh, there's people all over us. But they're not. So I think it's something that the Buccaneers will look at and they'll figure out. And they're getting the Saints coming in. I think that failed 2-point conversion is a play that sealed the Bucs lose. They should have kicked the extra point. Yeah, I mean, listen, we could look at a lot of different things and say they should have done this or they should have. Like sometimes it just comes down as easy as like they just didn't play well enough. And I know that's hard because we live in a world now where everybody wants to quantify things by numbers, right? Well, oh, this team did this on a Friday night, on every Thursday night in the month of November, they only score 6 points per quarter. Like sometimes you just don't play well enough. Sometimes you just have a stinker. That's what you saw last night. I don't think the offensive line did a great job. I don't think Baker did a great job. We obviously know Tez made some mistakes. I think the whole Servase Dennis thing of him being able to cover guys, you have to be very careful what you say if you're a team in the Tampa Bay area. Because you got a lot of people with long memories here. And I remember before the season going, is anybody else worried about the linebacker position? No, the Bucs said they're going to be fine. Okay. Nobody's concerned about the inside linebacker position? I mean, you addressed it with Anthony Walker, you got rid of him. You're trusting Servase Dennis, who missed a whole chunk of the year last year with a shoulder injury. Oh, he did good a couple games in the beginning of the season last year. Long time ago. Levante David's not getting any younger. 14 seasons. And then you watch Servase Dennis this year. And while he's good going forward, my guy has a real struggle covering people in pass coverage. This is a problem. This is an issue. Like, it's just weird before the season. Oh, we think that's one of our deeper groups. Really? Did y'all watch Deion Jones last night? There's no way the Buccaneers look at those guys. Even with me and my amateur eye, I've never played in the NFL. There's no way that they look at that position and think that's a position of strength. There's no way. It may not be as bad as what other people say, but there's no way you could possibly tell me that you truly believe what you told us in the beginning of the season, Todd. There's no way. No way. Does anybody else say that? Anybody else agree with that? No, not a chance. And I know what you're saying, Tyler. You're looking at Dennis's Devin White 2.0. I wouldn't go that far because I do like what Dennis does going forward when it comes to sacking the quarterback and making tackles. He doesn't over pursue as much as Devin White does. And then the pass rush. But wait, Chris Braswell and Marquise Watts are going to save the day. The pass rush continues to be an issue. I mean, look at it last night. I mean, good for Yaya made the play. Okay, I'll give him that credit. But you look at the defense, man, and you're getting the sacks. 4 sacks last night. One of them comes from Taiki. The other one comes from Savasier. Yaya got his, which was good. And the other one was from Anthony Nelson, who is going to be your third or fourth guy. Don't get me wrong. But there's no reason that Anthony Nelson should be having a bigger impact than Hassan Reddick, than Chris Braswell. I hope that they flood the numbers with pass rushers in the offseason, kind of like what they did with the secondary. You can't just be like, all right, we're going to go get David Walker and we're going to Hassan Reddick. Nah, man. I thought you needed more then. I sure as hell know that you need more now. You got to go get a difference maker. Because you look at the numbers, Aiden Hutchinson had 2 tackles, 1 solo. He had 1 pass defense, 1 QB hit. But he was a factor all night long. The Buccaneers don't have that guy. Even when Hassan Reddick was healthy, didn't have that guy. They really have to do something drastic. Multiple draft picks, trade for a big guy. Like, you got to do something, man. Because this whole thing of like, oh, the one thing you can't do, like, you got to be real with yourself. And this is what I love about Jason Light. I think he's done such a great job, is like, he's been so real with understanding where his shortcomings are, understanding where this team needs depth and more attention. And he's done a really, really great job. Todd Bowles, the same way. Understanding I'm not great at clock management. I'm not great at some of these, non-play calling things as a head coach. I'm open to change. I'm open to adjustments. I'm open to bringing new people in. Good on both of them. But there's one thing that in the last 4 or 5 years that both of those men have not been able to do. And that's have a consistent pass rush. And for all the people that are like, all right, well, it's funny because we talk about the pressures versus the sacks. And I think the pressures sometimes are just a wasted statistic, because it's fine if you don't get fine if you get pressures, but if you don't get sacks, eventually it's another almost statistic. And then you'll have a game like you did a couple weeks ago, and it's like, oh yeah, here's some sacks, great. All right, well, if that's the case, you should be getting more pressures then. It should be a thing where you look at it and you're like, wow, they're all over that quarterback, just like last night. I don't care what the numbers say. I'm watching the game. Are you invested? Are you involved? Are you pressuring? Are you helping out in the run? Are you knocking down passes? What are you doing? Don't give me the numbers of what pressures are and what the total sacks are. I know how this team gets I know how this team gets sacks. I get it. But you know what you're doing if you're getting sacks from Tyke Smith and Shavassi Dennis? You're blitzing. So that's great when you do get home. What happens when you don't? When you don't get home, you give up the huge plays like you did last night. Huge. Look at Phil Azun. Hey, Phil. Phil Azun. Let me tell you a little bit about my guy, Phil Azun. Didn't really hear from Phil this weekend. Big Liverpool fan there, Philly. Trade for Myles Garrett, brother. I said that in the offseason. Crosby, Garrett, Hendrickson, anybody. Go get somebody, please. I agree, Jay. LB needs to be addressed immediately. Same with the edge. Jason better learn to give up picks. Can't think of a Super Bowl winning team that hasn't made a trade for a difference make. You need something, man. Something. I know we need linebacker help, but with Mr. Cansey being so injury prone and games being one in the trenches, I would like him to bring a real competition at DT. We need consistency there. Bad. Go get Calais Campbell. Please. Rescue that man. This is a guy that if he goes out there, he is going to help you on the field. He's going to help you off the field. He can get to the passer. He can stop the rush. He's just a good dude, and he's a mountain of a man. He loves Todd Bowles. I met Calais Campbell a couple years ago when the Falcons beat the Bucs, and Ira Kaufman and I went in there, and we spoke to Calais Campbell. and he's huge. Like he's got I'm Calais Campbell. Like he's just got the deepest voice, and he's just the sweetest man ever. And he says, "I love Todd Bowles." He loves that guy, dating back to his days in Arizona. Bring him here, man. Bring him here. Sorry I'm late. Jay looks like he's going to a funeral. Bro, if you go to a funeral with a black hoodie, I don't know if that's good. We need an edge rusher and an inside linebacker in a big way. You got that right, buddy. Come on, buddy. Come on, buddy. Everybody kill that like button right now while you're watching. Got about 10 minutes left. We're talking about this, then we're going to move on. Why not go for Christian Wilkins? I don't want to upset the apple cart with Christian Wilkins, man. I heard he was doing some crazy, weird stuff there in Las Vegas, kissing the top of people's heads and stuff, and people don't want any part of that, man. I don't want any part of that. I'd rather have a guy that's a little older, get Calais for a late round pick, a 6th or a 7th round pick, maybe. Get him for a 7th round pick, bring him in here, and this is a guy that you can have for the rest of the year that's going to give you some good minutes. I mean, those guys rotate a lot on the defensive line. Get him out there. Get him out there. Sergio Hendrickson is hurt and is 30. Max Crosby's still young, 28, only has $35 million salary. Light doesn't give up picks, though. Yeah, I mean, things have to change, though. Like, you have to change sometimes. And it doesn't mean you go out there and you completely change your philosophy and you just completely give up on your draft picks at all. Nah. But every once in a while, go out there, make a trade, make a splash, go get somebody. We speak about this a lot with the Lightning. I know I didn't have a late night surge. I'm just upset about the whole Mike Evans thing. We spoke about this with the Lightning last year too. When you go out there in the middle of the season, and I know it's not like this with football as much as some of the other sports, but when you go out there in the middle of the season and you're a team that's fighting and contending, and especially one that's dealing with injuries, when your GM goes out there and you make a big splash and you go get a Myles Garrett, or you go out there and get a Max Crosby, or you get like another big-time linebacker, right? What is the message that you send your team? You let your team know that you're going to do whatever it takes to win. That, hey, I know that you're leaving it all out there. I know that you're leaving blood, sweat, and tears on the field to try to bring this team its 3rd Super Bowl trophy. I get that. Let me help you. Let me do my part. Because as Julian Breezewa says, Jay, it takes 3. I am looking every single day to make this team better. Not just before the season, not just at the trade deadline, all 365 days. Now, I'm not saying that Jason Light doesn't do that, but a way to kind of put your money where your mouth is by going out there and making a deal. Go get somebody. You got to get somebody, Jason. Someone. You're not mortgaging the future. And even if you have a draft pick less, shit, man, you do such a great job with them. You'll find a way to trade a 2nd round pick. The 2nd round picks ain't working. Get rid of those. Yeah, you're not going to hit on everyone. And I know percentage-wise, you're trying to play the percentage thing. Well, if you have more, you have a higher percentage to be able to hit. I get that. But the message that you send to your team, to the organization, to your fan base is like, hey, I'm with you. We're that close. Let's go for it. Let's do it. That's what Julian did when he brought back McDonough, when he brought back Ord, signed Jake Gensel. These trades to bring in Duclair and Dumba, like he's always Goodrow and Coleman, and right, like you just in the middle of the season, what can I do? What can I do to make this team better? And I think the Buccaneers really need to examine that. What can they do to help out the pass rush? What can they do to help out the linebacker situation? Because, you know, I like what I saw from, again, Anthony Nelson last night. I think the secondary, you know, when they're all firing on all cylinders and everybody's close to health, I don't hate that. I think they can compete. You get Bucky back here soon. Do you go sign a veteran wide receiver? Maybe. But who's going to be healthy for Sunday's matchup with the New Orleans Saints? Mike won't be. I doubt Chris Godwin will be. Emeka should be in there. We know J-Mac's not going to be in. And now, after the drafting of Emeka Egbuka, we thought that we were going to see Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Emeka Egbuka, and Jalen McMillan at some point all lining up on the field together. Now, I don't know if we ever will. I'll say that right now. We will never. I don't want to put that out there into the universe. But I will say, it is highly unlikely that we ever see Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Jalen McMillan, and Emeka Egbuka all on the field at the same time. Highly unlikely. And that sucks. But it's also a reason why you don't trade from a position of depth in the National Football League. Because just like that, it disappears. Just like that, it all changes. The Buccaneers take on the New Orleans Saints this weekend, and that's not a given either because it's a challenge against a division rival, and those games are never easy. So even though we watch this game this weekend and think, all right, on paper, it doesn't matter. That paper shit does not matter. Ryan, I'm with you, buddy. It's the most gut-wrenching part, not getting to see that lineup. To not be able to see Mike and Chris and Emeka and J-Mac with Bucky and Rashad. Ah, man. Sucks, brother. Freaking sucks. No bueno at all. All right, guys. Tomorrow on the program, Double E Eric Erlinson will join us at 1 o'clock. We'll talk some Lightning hockey, of course, some baseball as well. Thursday, we'll have the EverHealth injury report. EverHealth injury report at 12:30 with Dr. Rodriguez at 1 o'clock. Denard Span is going to join us about his upcoming event in November. Make sure you go check it out now, the DenardSpanFoundation.org. The big gala coming up in November 6th, my mama's birthday. Yeah, and then we're going to go from there, man. It's still rough. Still rough day because of what happened to Mike Evans. But I think we kind of covered a little bit of everything on the program today with quarterback, running back, offensive line, defensive line, linebackers, secondary, the shit officiating. The officiating was so bad. Like, I don't even how about the trip last night on Baker where the guy literally stuck his leg out there? Like, it wasn't even close. Like, you're watching, I was like, yeah, it's a trip. 2-minute penalty. Get in the box. And the referee's almost talking to the guy after. It was almost like it was a 13-year-old baseball game where the kid balked. And instead of the umpire calling the balk, he went up to him going, hey, make sure you come set and pause a second, or we're going to call a balk the next time. That's exactly what it seemed like. It's just, yeah, no good. The Kate Otten play was weird. Double check on that. I don't know. Those are one of those games you kind of look at, and for those people that are big-time conspiracy theorists going, oh, everything is rigged, the NFL is rigged. One for those last night, right? One for those people that believe in that type of stuff. Crazy, crazy, crazy. All right. I feel better, Dave. I feel good. I'm feeling better now, guys. All right. Feeling better. All right. We're off. We're good. Tomorrow's going to be a new day. Tomorrow is a new day. Yes, it is. So we'll turn the page and we'll look for greener pastures and brighter days for our Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Again, reason why I was feeling so down today because of Mike Evans and Hassan Reddick and those injuries. We hope those guys get better soon. And you never know. Maybe this is one of those things where Mike Evans has a heroic comeback in the postseason and helps the Buccaneers win the Super Bowl. That would be pretty damn Cool. A big thank you to Chan and Maurice Tucker and Eddie with the super chats. I appreciate you guys very, very much. And a big thank you to our sponsors, Honest Hammer and Evra Health. You guys are the best. All right. Follow me at Recher. I love you all. We'll see you tomorrow at noon right here on the Recher podcast.